All right, you guys, good morning. Let's get it going. A couple of news headlines to get into before we dive into the first two episodes of Alien Earth. So let's get started. Good morning. Now, I was curious because there were some bizarre synchronicities about this homelessness and what happened during World War II. So I had to ask the question, did Adolfo Hitler, we're going to call him the Yahtzee, did he do the same thing that Trump is doing right now with the homeless? And absolutely he did. He called these people asocials, like anti-socials. So if you did not want to be in the regime, in the system, you were called an antisocial. And this is exactly how Trump views homeless people. And any people during that time period who were unproductive to society, they were institutionalized, they were rounded up, just like Trump is doing. Let's read about this, and then we're going to read about a strange paradox. Because many of you will remember that earlier this year, just 3 or 4 months ago, Trump basically converted a VA hospital in Los Angeles to house veterans. And now he's doing exactly the opposite. Let's read about this, you guys. During the Yahtzee regime in the city, in the country of germs, we're speaking in code here because the censorship is now off the hook again. Trump does not want any of this information out there. So these videos are being flagged. So we're speaking in code. So my apologies. Anyone that was considered a threat to the concept of that word, the people's community, they were categorized as asocials or work shy, alongside other marginalized groups such as beggars, alcoholics, prostitutes, and pacifists. They implemented a range of increasingly harsh policies to target these groups. They first arrested them. The first rounds of arrests focused on forcing homeless individuals into mandatory labor camps or workhouses. Now, Trump is saying he's going to institutionalize these people who will not get off the street. Well, what kind of institution are they going to be put in? Well, I can imagine he's going to force them to go to work, right? Now, they might not call it a labor camp now or a workhouse, but these people will be told you have two options. You're either going to go to jail or you're going to work in this program, this work program we have for you. And then, at that point, we'll give you housing or whatever they're going to do, right? Or they're going to deem you insane, or they're going to put you in a drug treatment program. Nobody's talking about where all these people are going that they're rounding up. They're not telling us yet. This is crazy, you guys. We're literally in a repeat of what happened. Now, people argue, oh, well, Casey, Hitler was I just said his name. He was evil. He did all these things to these people. Well, how do we know what's happening to these people? Do we really know what's happening to them? A lot of them are maybe they don't have a paper trail. Maybe they don't have people that love them that check in on them and they just disappear. We don't know this yet. We don't know how all this is going to pan out, do we? So then they basically categorize these people as habitual and dangerous criminals, which justified placing the homeless and beggars and unemployed in these camps. You guys, as it sits now, they just fast-tracked the building of these huge facilities. Alligator Alcatraz is one of them, and there are dozens more all across the United States in places where there aren't even any illegals, you guys. And they're supposed to be detention facilities for the illegals, but they're empty. They are empty. Now, we were told they were going to be places where they can stage the illegals before they leave, before they fly them off. But at the end of the day, these facilities are largely empty. Now, if you've got proof that they're not empty, that these are full to capacity with a bunch of illegals waiting to get deported, then show me the proof. But there's a reason why they built these places, because they can be used as a dual purpose. Check this out. 1938, mass arrest. This is exactly what's happening right now. or what Trump's trying to do. We'll see what the courts say about this, but no one seems to be stopping him. The Yahtzees escalated their crackdown on work shy, they call it, conducting a nationwide raid. Kind of like what's happening now. A nationwide raid. This action resulted in approximately 11,000 homeless people being arrested and sent to camps. Then they sterilized them. Classification, dehumanization, asocials. Now, how long ago was this? 1938, 48, 58, 68, 78, 88, 98, 2008, 2018, 1920. Wait. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. You guys, this was almost 88 years ago. I think it was like 87 years ago. We're right there. All of this is happening again. They called this, well, it says that they did not purge the homeless in the same way that okay, so we won't read that. So my question was, did he purge the homeless? They say he didn't technically, but then you just saw the description there. Now, here's what's weird. Earlier this year, Trump signed an executive order to turn this VA hospital campus into veteran housing in LA. Remember this? He was supposed to house 6,000 veterans. Vets in LA hope with Trump order that they will finally come home. This was in May of this year. And it says here, these homeless vets outside the gate of the VA sprawling West LA campus. Los Angeles has the highest number of homeless vets in the country, which is surprising since it's also got a massive 388-acre veteran affair campus that was donated in 1888. That's a lot of 88s, and that ain't no accident, is it? So Trump signed an executive order to turn this place into housing for the vets. Now, I haven't checked in on this in terms of where they're at with this, but Trump did put a time limit on this. I think by 2026, it was supposed to be done. VA West Los Angeles Campus Master Plan. Let's read a little bit of this. The plan covers a variety of construction, redevelopment, public-private partnership activities related to VA's master planning process for one of the VA's largest and most complex integrated healthcare systems. So here's what the VA housing was supposed to look like. And this was actually back in 2022 during the Biden administration. But then Trump actually passed the executive order to peel away the red tape. I guess it got caught up in some red tape. 1,200 units of housing to be developed at the West LA VA Medical Center. So this article was dated, let's see here. Let's get our timeline right. Where's the date on here? Oh boy, here we go. Well, they're talking about 2022. So here's what it would look like. We need to do this for our veterans, don't we? They need, they don't need anything fancy. They're used to sleeping in barracks and things. This is probably an upgrade for them. Nice and clean, air conditioning, small bed, dresser. That's all a lot of them need to feel like they did something for their country. And to be okay after what they went through. A lot of these vets wake up and they realize they've been lied to about their service. And that's depressing enough as it is, especially if you've taken another life under the guise of a lie. So this is what they should get so they could try to recover from that and move on with life and put it behind them. So this is a good thing that Trump was doing. So why is he now flipping the script and doing something polar opposite to this? Here's where we are in 2025. Giving homeless people stable housing was federal policy for decades. Trump is ending it. Let's read. This is 2025. Rachel Ellison spent 17 years sleeping on the streets of D.C., cycling in and out of jails and hospitals. She finally moved to an apartment in 2008 thanks to a rental voucher with mental health treatment and support services attached through a nonprofit organization. Once I got the housing stabilization and the foundation underneath my feet, I was able to work on myself, Ellison said. He benefited from Housing First as the program policy that moves chronically homeless people into permanent housing without requiring them to be sober or in treatment beforehand. Housing First programs then offer services for drug abuse, mental illness, education, and employment. So this Housing First program used to have bipartisan support for 2 decades, but Trump wants to cut funding, claiming the model is ineffective, contributing to crime and disorder and a record number of people sleeping on the streets. Instead, Trump wants to fund programs with stiffer sobriety or work requirements. There's the Yahtzee work camp. And commit more homeless people with mental health issues without their consent. So if they decide you're mentally incapable, you go into treatment. Now, here's the problem. A lot of these treatment paradigms don't work. They force you on medications that I believe are not good for you. But who am I to argue with the medical establishment, right? Wow. So he's going to cut this program, cut the funding, change it, whatever they're going to do. I'll put a link to this story if you want to read further about this. But it seems to be opposed to the previous policies. So the Janus spirit, say one thing, do another. And that's where we're at now. Now, a couple more stories. We'll get into Alien Earth. More than 24 people linked to Epstein have died under mysterious circumstances. Wow. Now remember, Trump is knee deep in this, and I believe my personal feeling and opinion is that he had something to do with Epstein's disappearance or death. 24 people linked to him have died under mysterious circumstances. Now, this is the National Enquirer. This is how they hide the truth. They leak it through sources like this that nobody's going to believe. This is how they shade the truth. But the National Enquirer said they discovered 22 people in Epstein's orbit that have died under murky circumstances, fueling fears of a cover-up by powerful figures seeking to erase potential witnesses. From the predator's alleged victims to house managers, lawyers, accountants, investigative journalists, and pimps, the list of unexplained fatalities traces a dark money trail that leads straight to Epstein's inner circle. There were a lot of people entrapped and entangled through his web. Many are gone now, dead. Now, some people will say, "Oh, that's just chance coincidence." I don't think so. If the Clintons were doing the same thing and we were able to call them out on all the people dead surrounding them, then we should be able to call it out in this case as well. It's the same thing. Now, they don't name any of these people, or a few of them. This guy, they did name this guy, former Towers Financial CEO and Epstein associate who died in 2022 at 77 years old after serving 18 years for a $475 million Ponzi scheme. Cooperated with the FBI, spoke out about his former protege and the alleged connections to Israel's Mossad. The guy ended up dead. Wow. Another guy, Epstein's final cellmate, died of COVID. Virginia Jeffrey, they are naming some of these. Wow. Some sex slaves, Carolyn Adriano and Lee Sky Patrick, died of drug overdoses. That is shady, you guys. That is shady. There's something else going on here, and many, many more. Here's another one. Joe Ricari, the Palm Beach police detective who led the Epstein investigation and pushed officials for justice. He died in 2018 after a brief illness at 50 years old. Epstein's ex-butler died in December 2014 of mesothelioma at age 60. Gosh, talk about death by 1,000 different methods. These people have endless ways to take people out, don't they? And there's many, many more in here. So I didn't want to spend too much time on that. But check this out. A congresswoman did an interview with Joe Rogan, and she says that the government has literally spoken to interdimensional beings. What the heck? Representative Anna Paulina Luna said during Wednesday podcast with Joe Rogan that lawmakers have seen evidence of interdimensional beings. I think that they can actually operate through time spaces that we currently have, she said during the podcast. And that's not something that I came up with on my own. That's based on stuff that we've seen, information we've been told. She sent letters to Marco Rubio and CIA Director John Ratcliffe requesting a briefing on all records in their possession related to unidentified anomalous phenomenon, with the ultimate goal of delivering transparency to the American people. And through her investigations, she discovered otherworldly information. Now, of course, these are demonic spirits they're speaking with and communing with. The very spirits that I believe actually run this world. Why do I believe that? Because the Bible says that. Now, here's an update on a crazy story. We started covering this new phenomenon of family killers. These killers who kill entire families. Now, in this particular instance, this guy killed entire family except for the baby, and then he left the baby somewhere. They caught him. Here's the guy, complete psychopath. He killed 4 people in this family. Well, guess what? Now they're saying that there were 3 to 4 people who helped him escape. 3 different people. Now, understand that if someone accidentally helped someone escape and they didn't realize it, like he was just, hitchhiking or something and someone gave him a ride, obviously they wouldn't charge these people with aiding and abetting, right? Because it would be an accident. Because they didn't know. They were unaware that he was a killer. So obviously, this guy had a whole team of people helping him. This is crazy. These are like kill squads. 3 people charged with helping the suspected killer of 4 are accused of giving him shelter, phones, and everything else. Let's flip through some of these pictures. That's just the guy talking about it. 3 people charged with helping a Tennessee man accused of fatally shooting 4 people are suspected of providing him with shelter, phones, and rides as he evaded authorities after the killings. Wow, the plot thickens. Now, why all this happened, who knows? I mean, you'd have to dig into the family that he killed to find out the truth about this. But to me, this sounds like some kind of kill squad, assassination squad. Who knows? Shocking. Now, let me check in with you guys and we'll get into Alien Earth. Good morning. Welcome to the show today. Glad you guys are having a good week. Let me read in the chat here, see what you guys are up to. My goodness. Yeah, 3 separate people helping this guy get away. Well, obviously, they were all in it together. The death of the family on a spiritual level is probably what they're trying to depict here, and there could have been some kind of assassination plot or something. Who knows? That guy looked like military. It's always the same look, isn't it? Not middle-aged, but like younger middle-aged white male. This is the archetype that they've been showing us. So, Pirate Heart's only seeing a black screen. I don't know why that's happening. Probably refresh, I would say. Does God want us to start sacrificing things? Of course not. Jesus died for our sins. Sacrificial system is over. All right. Jason Bourne. Says Carlos. Yeah, everything's so strange, isn't it? Yeah, it totally has a Timothy McVeigh look, doesn't he? An operation for sure, says Crystal. All right, let's get into this Alien Earth. This is crazy, you guys. Now, so far, only 2 episodes have released of Alien Earth, and it is absolutely a throwback to the original Alien movie. It's got the look and feel almost exactly. And just so you know, the Alien franchise is one of my favorites to decode because of the accuracy of where they wanted to take humanity. And they established this all the way back in the first Alien movie. It was hiding in plain sight the whole time. If only people could see the deeper themes of what they were trying to show everybody. Now, of course, there is no alien. The alien is the devil. The alien is the serpent in the chest. And that was the first clue where we were finally able to crack the code on Alien. Because at first, I just watched it for entertainment. And then I realized that there were much deeper themes running through Alien and the Alien franchise. Because the alien would go in through the mouth, develop in the chest cavity, and pop out. And we started seeing these similar themes in other science fiction where serpents were in the chest. They would pop out of the chest. We saw it in the Stargate series, the Goa'uld. The serpent would basically be housed in the chest and possess the person, right? It was like it was a host body, and then there was the serpent, which was the possessive agent. They called it a symbiote. This is the twin spirits. And then we link that to Superman because he's got an S on his chest. So it's all about mixing the blue and red blood. This is why Superman has a blue and red costume. And this all goes back to possession and the enmity between the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman. And the serpent wanting to merge with the seed of the woman. Now, obviously, there's a lot of space deception. There's no such thing as space in the form that they tell us. So we look at space as simply the substrate through which they hide the truth. But here is the movie cover poster. The alien's got the world in his mouth, in the jaws, in the grip. Now, what other things can we draw from this? Well, the alien is the fallen angel archetype. And in fact, got some clips here for you guys. The alien is the fallen angel archetype. And that's exactly what happens in Alien Earth. And essentially, there's a ship with the alien in it, and it falls like lightning from heaven. A crashed spacecraft. The name of the spacecraft is called the Maginot. Maginot. And this was our first clue. The Maginot. Now, what did we find about the Maginot? Well, there was a real Maginot. And of course there was, because they name the ships in the Alien franchise after different things. There was one that we found that was actually named after a book. Or what was it? I'm trying to think of it. Oh, Narcissus. That's what it was. In one of the Alien movies, it was called the Narcissus. And that the roots of that was very racial. There was a book called the N-word of Narcissus, which also, of course, is narcissist, right? So there's all these connections to this stuff. But check this out. This is the guy, Maginot. And he served until Donald Trump's birthday. In one of his terms, not all of his terms, had several roles. This is Donald Trump's birthday, 1924, in France. So who was Maginot? Well, let's go to the top of this page here. This is Andre Maginot, after which the alien ship was named. And he is known for what is called the Maginot Line. And it was basically France's Great Wall of China, essentially, but it was a military wall. They were trying to keep out the Germans. Think of the implications of this. Served till Trump's birthday, a big wall, keep out the Germans. Maginot sounds like MAGA, kinda. So there you go. Already, Trump's wall veiled in the movie. Now, how this wall aspect will fit into the rest of the series has yet to be determined. Again, this is just the first 2 episodes. But one of the subscribers, Elizabeth, in the comments yesterday said that her son was a history buff. And he told her about the Maginot Line months ago in some sort of spiritual foreshadowing. What did he say? He said that the symbolism behind the Maginot Wall was that the French did all they could to build an impenetrable wall around them, but the Yazis still got through it. And I can imagine that this is how the Maginot aspect will apply to the alien incursion in the later episodes. They'll probably try to build a wall of some type or defense system, and the aliens will get through it anyway. And that's kind of the theme of the Alien franchise to begin with. So I can imagine that will probably be the case. Now, let's get into some of these clips, you guys. The series begins with a statement of where the world is about 100 years from now. Let's read it. It says, in the future, the race for immortality will come in 3 guises. Cybernetically enhanced humans, called cyborgs, artificially intelligent beings, called synths, and synthetic beings downloaded with human consciousness, called hybrids. Now, as you're going to hear next, there is a race between 4 oligarchs, trillionaires, and the race is to provide man with everlasting life. And all of it centers around transhumanism, as I just read, these three guises. And they all know that they can cash in on offering everlasting life to the highest bidder. And so they're in this arms race, if you will. And of course, we will see how the alien incursion fits into all this, because the alien DNA is what will weaponize humanity. The authoritarian component, the war aspect, and the blue blood ingredient that the tech trillionaires will wield against each other for power. Let's take a look, you guys. Now, this is the Maginot, as you just saw. It's full of these explorers who come out of cryosleep in these pods. And they were in deep space collecting specimens to bring back to Earth so that one of the trillionaires who is in this arms race could have a technical advantage to get there first, to offer everlasting life, and also to wield power over the other trillionaires by weaponizing their technology to gain world control. And essentially, they're carrying the alien, and this is the ship that crashes to Earth. They pop out of these cryo chambers. And to those with eyes to see, you know what this is. What does this remind you of? Take a good look. What does this remind you of? Let me go back into the chat. See who's paying attention this morning. We are decoding Alien Earth, the first 2 episodes. If you're just tuning in, we started this show today with some updates on the headlines and things like that. And now we're into this. What does that remind you of? Somebody knows the answer? Okay. Lotus. There you go. Monster got it. The lotus flower. Now, what is the lotus flower? Well, it represents consciousness, doesn't it? Remember this scene from I Pet Goat 2? This is Lily. Remember, we figured out what this rabbit was in the back. It has a tag in its right ear. That's for identification. We now have rabbits with crazy horns growing out of their faces in Colorado in real life. This is also about IVF. It's about fertility, because all of these figures are twins of one another. They mirror each other on each side. So this, and of course, IVF causes more twins. And think about this. There's also this weird ivy in the back, which could be also a metaphor for IVF. IV, let's back this up. Ivy in the back. Twin wombs. Remember, rabbits have bifurcated wombs. They have two separate, or a split womb. Let's call it a split womb because it's not actually technically a double womb. It's a split womb. And these clay figures, these golems in the background. The apple's about fertility, the fruit of the womb. From the seed of the woman, she's holding this in the womb position. She rolls it across the floor. And lo and behold, consciousness. The apple stops and out comes a lotus flower. Now what this means, who knows? But it opens up, twin seeds inside, combined together from each side, twin sides of the apple, and out comes the lotus flower. Now, Kamala means lotus as well. And this is Obama's foot, who introduced Kamala to the world stage. This is the two spirits merging, you guys. That's what this is all about. There's Obama. If you're just tuning in, this is from I, Pet Goat 2. And we're comparing I, Pet Goat 2 in this scene to the lotus flower of cryosleep, coming back into their consciousness on this journey. But we all know this is a metaphor for the consciousness mixing with the alien in the future of where this technology is taking us. So all of this stuff is metaphor. It's all happening right now, you guys. Now, what is the alien component? Well, I believe the alien is the stinging locust, which is mentioned in the book of Revelation. They will be the quote unquote aliens. They will say they're from space, but they're not. They could come from the pits of hell. I don't know what Revelation says about where these stinging locusts are going to come from. But as far as I could tell, the closest thing in the Bible that seems to line up with the alien archetype has to be the stinging locust of the Bible.
There's 4 companies. They govern the entire globe.
That's dynamic. Utani has Mars and Saturn.
Yeah, but we're talking about the Earth. Who rules what?
Don't forget the new one, Prodigy.
What's that one?
It's Synths, AI. That's the one. Youngest trillionaire ever.
Right, so there's 5 companies, right?
Still don't get it.
Oh, poor baby.
It was started by a kid maybe 10 years ago.
So the company can put shit.
Now, there you just heard a brief explanation about the 4 or 5 companies that rule the world, the trillionaires. One of them is the youngest trillionaire ever, this guy right here. And he's like some kind of prodigy. They call him the prodigy. But let's continue to break this down. Because next you're going to hear from the conspiracy theorist on the ship. And he gets cold feet about bringing back the alien specimens to Earth. He realizes that they will probably use the DNA from the alien to spike our food supply with alien DNA. All of this is happening right now with several tech billionaires actually trying to develop food additives with DNA in it to vaccinate us.
Still don't get it.
Oh, poor baby.
It was started by a kid maybe 10 years ago.
So the company can put shit into our breakfast cereal to control our minds.
That is not a real thing.
No.
Don't know what you're talking about, mate.
Now, here is the prodigy, the tech trillionaire, and essentially he is the youngest, richest man on Earth, and he's doing secret experiments on an island with children. Sound familiar? Kind of reminds me of Epstein. His secret DNA experiments in New Mexico and on the island. And in the TV series, this guy takes sick children. He downloads their consciousness into robots, super robots that can they're like Superman. They can jump from high places. They can't really fly yet, but they can jump from high places and they have superhuman strength. And he basically is successfly downloads their consciousness into these robots.
Going to be the first person to transition from a human body to a synthetic.
Let me call him Med Team.
Now, finally, the ship crashes to Earth carrying the aliens. Most of the people on board die, except for this guy. And he's a cyborg. He's the lone survivor. And he works for the Utani Corporation. And his job was to bring back the aliens so that Utani can have an advantage and weaponize the aliens and have control of Earth. And so he's basically bad. He's a bad guy because all he cares about is getting the aliens contained into the Utani Corporation. That's his job. Now watch this. Mind blown. As he's approached by these, this is a team that's sent into the ship to find survivors. They're like a rescue team. And watch this.
Don't make me say it again.
Take a good look at your screen. What do you see? He has 6 fingers. Now we know that this exists because the Bible tells us about a man from Gath with 6 fingers and 6 toes in the Old Testament after the flood. Let's see if we can look that up. Second Samuel and First Chronicles, the Bible describes a man from Gath with 6 fingers and toes on each hand and foot, totaling 24. He is identified as a descendant of the giants and is described as defying Israel before being killed by Jonathan, David's nephew. This was after the flood. Now, in modern times, they call this polydactyly. Now, don't freak out if you know somebody has 6 fingers and toes. This is a bloodline thing. All that matters now is, do you give your life to Jesus Christ? He came and died for our sins, regardless of what blood runs through your veins. Now, I ran the birthday numbers on all this in this series to see if I could figure out if there were any other clues, because there's always clues in the way that they cast this stuff, right? So I go in here and I start looking around, and there's a girl, I don't know if I showed her in any of the clips, but she's the one that has her consciousness transferred first. I think it's this girl here. Let's see here. Here she is. Yes. She's the one that has she's sick and she has her consciousness transferred into the body. And look at her birthday, the eve of Lupercalia, which is the Egyptian wolf festival, bringing us full circle back to the lotus flower, which of course is indicative of Egypt, isn't it? So there's one connection that I found. Here's another connection. This guy who plays the tech trillionaire, he was born on April Fools. And of course, this has something to do with the resurrection of Christ. Many believe that this was the day he was resurrected. I think I have to double check that. But on certain years, it falls on April Fools, which is why they made the date of April 1st, April Fools, to make fun of Jesus. This date originated out of what's an ancient, what do they call it, ritual, hazing ritual called the washing of the lion. It was called, let's look it up. I'm pulling all this from memory, so apologies. Washing of the Lion, April 1st. And basically, that was mockery of Jesus. Washing of the Lion. He was the Lion of the tribe of Judah. And, of course, baptism is washing. And so they were making fun of him. But this was how April Fools originated. It was mockery of Jesus and originated in London. Wow. Now, I will decode the rest of the episodes as they come out, but essentially, the robot children are deployed onto the ship to rescue survivors from the crash ship and also to try to find the technology so that the tech trillionaire can have the advantage over Yutani. So it's a fight for technology, which is exactly what's happening right now, you guys. They're fighting for this fallen angel technology. That's what they're doing. It's like an arms race, and it's all about money and greed. And so now we've got the children on the ship. Now, they have not confronted the alien yet. There's a crazy alien running around with super powerful, super fast. But this is all set up for them to have some kind of confrontation with the deadly alien. Now, in terms of production quality, I would have to say this is close to the top. There aren't too many jump scares. This is a series you can actually probably watch and actually learn something from about how these people, where all this is headed in the last days, because they're literally showing us in plain sight. Some of you aren't into science fiction, so I would say not watch it if you're not into science fiction. So that's pretty much what I came up with, you guys. Let me go back into the chat. How are you guys doing today? Oh, so update on the Honey Milk Ranch. The guys came out. They did a really good job grading the driveway. They worked all day. And they're going to probably help me dig this spring out down at the bottom of the hill. So I'll get some video of that, definitely. I didn't get any video of the driveway grading because it was just kind of, there wasn't a lot to see. But they just basically re-leveled everything, filled in all the potholes, and took out all the weeds and grass in the process. So they filled in some holes and got it graded correctly so I don't got water running under my house. So thank goodness for that. And yeah, but when we go down to the spring, they're going to bring a mini excavator down there, which is crazy because it's a pretty, crazy slope going down there. So it'll be interesting to see that go down. They're going to dig it out. And I'm going to put some pond liner in there and it'll fill up and it'll be a cold spring for emergencies and also for recreation. Hike down there. I'll probably put a park bench down there, maybe even a barbecue pit. That would be cool, huh? Do barbecues down there. So, all right, I'm back in the chat, you guys. When I was in nursing school, Marcy says, my medication teacher would not allow us to use a calculator because it can mess up. You have to do it and read it in your mind in a book and then put it down. Okay. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's going to be a fun project. I'm actually really excited about it. Yes, we are living in the last days. We have to be. Things are moving at a fever pitch. Technology has increased almost to a singularity. Like the sky's the limit. Anything's possible at this point. So, yeah, it'll be kind of a bug out place. Probably shouldn't be talking about it so much, right? But it's deep in the woods. It's hidden. It's in a ditch. Like no one would ever find me down there if I had to go down there and camp out. They would see the house up at the top of the hill, but they would never know that there was a trail going down into the ditch. Is it deep enough for baptism? Oh, absolutely. It is. I want to make it 2 to 3 feet deep. That's about all I'm going to be able to get. I don't want to spend a fortune on it, but the heavy equipment rentals are only a few $200-300 a day. And so I'm hoping we can get this done in a day with these guys. I could probably hand dig it out, but it would take a long time. So I figure just have them do it. Yeah, it has not rained in a whole month here. But yet, when we hiked down there, I took the guys down there. We hiked down there, and there was a pool of water about 1.5 feet deep, where in the spring was running. It was literally running water coming out at a really super fast. I was like, this is so awesome. All right. Okay, you guys, I guess I'm going to pop off of here. Thanks for showing up. Hope you enjoyed the show today. And I will see you guys on Sunday. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Much love.